these in the game, but several NPCs are said to be children or parents to others, with substantial proof throughout the game to surround these. Old Gen Boss Icon. Every old generation boss has always had the same skull icon on the map, and this was most likely used as a template for if the devs ever planned on changing it when implementing new bosses. And if you were one of those people that played the old gen console editions, then you probably remember this icon. Curved forges. Yep, forges used to be curved and looked like this. I personally wasn't playing the game when they looked like this, so to me, it's really, really weird looking. Locked Skyward Chest. Before Update 1.2, floating islands used to contain golden chests that required dungeon keys to unlock, but this was later changed with Update 1.2, which revamped the Sky Islands entirely. Lepus and Turker the Ungrateful. Lepus and Turker the Ungrateful are bosses exclusive to the Windows Phone and 3DS versions of Terraria. Lepus is summoned with a suspicious-looking egg and can hatch multiple types of eggs in which either Diseaster bunnies spawn, or a smaller and weaker version of Lepus will spawn instead, while Turker the Ungrateful is a Thanksgiving-themed boss summoned with cursed stuffing while you have a pet turkey. Chinese version. Similarly to how Minecraft has its own Chinese version, Terraria also has a Chinese version, and the version changes a massive amount of things in the game, removing skeletons and blood for example, and the version also retextures and reworks most of the bosses in the game in order to conform to the censorship and rules over in China. Bugged death messages. Sometimes when defeating bosses as normal, messages had a small chance to appear on the screen saying that Skeletron Prime's hands have been defeated and that the Moon Lord's core has been defeated, just to name two. Lunatic Cultist Treasure Bag. In Expert mode, bosses drop treasure bags as opposed to just dropping their items all over the ground, and in the case of the Lunatic Cultist, the boss doesn't drop a treasure bag despite a bag itself existing in the game files. Not like you're missing out on much though, considering that the bag only drops silver and an ancient cultist mask. The Old One's army is useless. While the Old One's army has a lot of cool looking enemies, as well as Betsy being a cool boss as it is, I'm gonna have to agree that the Old One's army is useless and that it doesn't really benefit you since you do the event so late into the game, and the issue is that most players just see it as one event left on their boss checklist. Chlorophyte Spreading. Chlorophyte is a rare ore that spawns after defeating the Wall of Flesh, but it can't be mined until the player has a pickaxe power of at least 200%. This entry refers not to Chlorophyte itself, but more to the fact that the way that the game combats the scarcity of it is how it's easily able to grow by being surrounded by blocks of mud. If you ever get into a situation where Chlorophyte does become scarce, your best bet would be to grow it using mud like in the video I'm showing. The Wall of Flesh is the guardian of the world. I talked earlier about how the guide potentially being the Wall of Flesh isn't completely impossible, and as for the Wall of Flesh itself, it's actually canon to the game's lore that the Wall of Flesh not only acts as the guardian of the world, but it also acts as the master and the core of the world as well. Collector's Edition. On June 20th, 2013, Terraria Collector's Edition was sold and distributed by partners of Terraria, and it was only available for desktop, PS3, and the Xbox 360. The Collector's Edition included a CD copy of Terraria